Welcome to Chocolate Cake for the Soul, a space to return to your truth, awaken your energy, and leave with deeper clarity. I'm Dewi, and I'm here to hold gentle yet powerful conversation on healing, intuition, and the unseen energy that shape our lives. Whether you're building a soulful business, navigating your inner wounds, or simply learning to trust your intuition again, you're exactly where you need to be. So find your favorite cozy corner and take a bite of chocolate cake for the soul together. Hi, welcome back to Chocolate Cake for the Soul. In today's episode, I'm joined by Brilliant Liu, founder of House of Leaders and Brand and Purpose. Brilliant is not only a powerful storyteller and a purpose driven brand strategist, but he also has a deeply thoughtful approach to leadership, energy, and presence. Together, we dive into a rich conversation around masculine and feminine energy, not just as concepts, but as living, breathing dynamics that shape how we show up in the world, in our relationships, and in our work. So brew yourself a warm drink, get cozy, and let's drop into this soulful exchange with Brilliant. Thank you so much, Brill, for being here today.
My pleasure.
I'm sure that you had a lot of people ask you this question. How is it like working with your partner? So you have a business and you run it with your wife. So what is that like?
It's I think it's a mix of everything. It's can be I don't want to say like a living hell, but it's not a living hell, but it's still almost the same like a living hell sometimes. But can be also joyful because you so I never noticed this until a lot of people says that I always mention Pharaoh in everywhere I go. So when no matter I talk about business, I talk about personal, because Pharaoh is always beside me, and so yeah, can be happy, joyful, fulfilling, and can be a living hell sometimes because we also argue a lot. We are there 24 hours, 7 days straight together. So it's a mix of both.
Has that evolved with time?
Yeah. So I think when we first get into business together, it's kind of It's chaotic because we it's it from my first startups, and the one who brings her in is not me. But well, we kind of ended up together in a company. Farron has a masculine energy. He's really masculine, like I'm the lady boss, I'm the boss back then. I'm also like that back then. But when we get married and then
So when you started working, you were not married yet.
not married
Not
yet.
married
I
yet.
think
Okay.
we get married 2 years after, 2 to 3 years after.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Now when we get married, I get to know her more, and I don't know if I was right to say this, but I think I was more. I think we are trying to understand each other, but I think I pull back more than her, so I trying to feel the whole. Like Ferron is more masculine, and then there's a space for feminine energy, so I tend leans towards there, because if no, I foresee this marriage will crumble, and we will have have to separate in the end. So for that to not happen, I kind of lean there. But along the way, I learned that we have to have this energy, a balance of energy. So now we are trying to have like she's more masculine here and feminine here, and I'm more too masculine here and feminine here. Just kind of balance in every way. We're still growing and evolving in this part, because I'm sure it will be like a journey until we are old, and that's what fun about marriage, I would say. But yeah.
So I'm just curious, like, is it possible for a person to be 100% masculine and a person to be 100% feminine? Or do you think it's possible to have it like half for let's say a man or a woman?
So okay. So thank you so much for sharing. So in regards to the question, actually everyone
has both sides of the energy. So every man or every woman have both the masculine and the feminine energy. And actually, in reality, we do need both. So depending on certain situations, you will use different forms of energy where it's more effective in, right? So, for example, if you want to exert, let's say, more physical strength, definitely masculine energy has more use than, say, feminine energy, and so on and so forth. But I think the problem comes when usually we tend to get used to one side of the energy and not tap into the other side of the energy. And what I mean by that is, for example, maybe for a male, from young, they have been taught, oh, men don't cry. Don't be like that. You're like a woman. So they learn from young to suppress the feminine energy. So they only tap into the masculine energy. And when they grow up, they lost touch of the feminine side, where maybe the feminine is more about the feeling, the sensations, communications. And so when they grow up, they have trouble maybe communicating with the partners because they don't know how to tap into the emotional side. So that's one example, because they have been taught from young that don't go there. It's not good. So they kill that side and they don't know how to tap into that. It's not that it's gone. It's just unused. They it's not they don't use it on a daily basis, so it becomes foreign. So they have to learn how to tap into that side so they can have better communication. They can have more empathy, maybe for the wife who's going through stuff, feeling stuff, so they can have a better relationship. Vice versa, for a woman, we also have both the feminine and the masculine side. And everybody's born different. Like some people, they're born with tendency to be more masculine or more feminine. Not doesn't matter what physically what they are, but there's an innate energy that they're born with. But usually, of course, that women are born to have the dominant side is the feminine energy, and male the male and masculine energy. But it could be the other way around as well. So when a female who has a female body, but later in their life they exude more masculine energy, that's usually because of something that happened in their life. That's also something that happened to me. Female will only become masculine when they don't feel safe. Because when they don't feel safe, the masculine side will come out to protect them. And that's usually the first one. And then number two, usually the female have been trained, maybe, in some circumstances to use the masculine energy because it's, stronger, better, whatever. Because society or maybe the parents teach them this is how you do things, but they teach it in the masculine way, not in the feminine way, because they believe that, the feminine energy is weaker, less effective, whatever it may be. So that's exactly what also happened to me. So when I was young, at 6 years old, I went to Singapore. So I was very independent. I lived by myself. I live in a host family without my own parents. So I learned from a very young age to be strong and to be independent. And I have to do everything myself because I'm by myself. And when I'm scared, I have no one. I have no parents to lean by. So I have to be very strong. And I became also very masculine because I have to, right? At the age of 14, I was living by myself in my own apartment. I have to be strong for myself. And of course, then the male side will come out, okay, I'm going to protect you. I mean, you as in me, myself. The male side will come out, I'm going to protect you. And that went on. And as I grew up, I became very masculine in a female body. But even though when I remember when I was very young, I keep thinking that I think I have the wrong body. I should be a male. But somehow I have a female body and I don't know why. So that's thing stuck with me for a very long time until many years later, after I understand the whole dynamics of female and male and etc., now I understand why. It turns out that in many of my lifetimes, I was a male and a male warrior. So I go to battle, like very strong, very independent. But in this lifetime, I need to learn the female way of creation, which is totally different from the male way of creation. So it's a new skill that I have to learn, and that's why, hence, my life unfolds that way because it's something that I need to learn. But coming back to the relationship, so when I started, this is usually the tendency of very masculine female. Usually they're somewhat successful, and usually they actually, what they actually really want the most is to be feminine, and they wish they can have a masculine man who can be masculine enough so that they can feel safe and they can be feminine. That's usually the deepest desire. But on a day-to-day reality, that's not always the case. Most often than times, they feel like I can be a better male than you, than the partner. So then the male side comes out, and of course the male that they usually are attracted by are very masculine people, because that's exactly what they are attracted to in the first place, right? But after they got into the relationship, the male and the male start clashing. And then, like you said, okay, rather than we fight all day long, I'll fill in this gap of being more feminine, so that we don't clash all the time. But usually when that happens, the female looks at it and go, why are you being so feminine now? I want a man. I don't want a, and then that becomes another issue all by itself. And that's exactly what happened to me in my relationship as well. And what actually shifted and made me change and understand more is actually during Date with Destiny, because they talk the whole thing about male and female dynamics, masculine and feminine energy. So that's when I realized that actually the one that is making the partner, or in this case my husband, more feminine. He's not feminine, but I made him to be more feminine, is actually myself. I created that. And of course, because he doesn't want to compete, like, okay, I'll fill in this role, but he doesn't like it, of course. And then, of course, the dynamics is not good. Yeah.
Okay.
But with time, after I learned this, then I realized, oh, turns out this is a programming. Oh, turns out this is a safety survival mechanism. The male side comes out, for example, when I'm at work, because there's a lot of programming that says, to be the boss, you have to be, like masculine and so on and so forth. Like you're not allowed to have emotions because if not, you're too girly. People will not respect you, and so on and so forth. So I think, and also when I look at the dynamics, for example, my father is the one who provides, so he's like the boss, so to speak. And so that's my role model, right? To provide or to be successful, you have to be masculine. So I didn't know how to be successful in being a female using feminine energy. I don't have any role model. So that's the only basis that I know how. So that's what I go off on. But it turns out it doesn't, it works to a certain point, but my body doesn't like it. Because using your masculine energy, one, you're so tired all the time. Male, not that there's anything wrong with it, but the way male do things and female do things is very different. So I really have to tap into my inner feminine, let's call it my magician, that side of me who can make things happen in a more female way, with using my female creative energy. But that's a step and a lesson that I have to learn. And when I understood all that, the dynamics and the relationship with my husband totally changed, because now I can be the female and he can be the male, and I get to feel safe and he gets to feel like he's providing and protecting. He gets to play that role.
So does that mean being a guy, being a male, is meant to be more masculine and the women has to be more feminine in a relationship?
Not all the time. It depends.
From the majority, I would say.
It comes down to what are you here to experience. So coming back to what are you born with? Because I do see that there are some male who are born to explore maybe their feminine side, you know?
Ah, okay.
There are male who are born to express their male side. So it really depends on where they are in their soul journey and what they're here to learn and experience. Um, so it's not necessarily always 100% male have to be male energy, female have to be female energy. It could be the other way around. I mean, it could be. I don't know. Yeah.
I see. Because after you say all of that, I kind of relate and reminisce like what happens in my past.
Do you want
That
to share? Can you
I
share
mean,
a little bit?
yeah, sure. There's a lot of women figure that is masculine in my lifetime. Like my mom is masculine.
Yeah.
She's trying to fill my father's gap
Yeah.
because my mom is a single parent
Yeah.
and she's raising two sons back then. And my mom's big sister is also masculine women, and I used to be close with her. My grandmother is also masculine women. She used to provide for her family of 7 kids before my grandfather actually can provide for the family. My mom's big brother's wife is also masculine.
Okay.
So her husband is kind of her husband is providing, but I think the wife is more masculine. Who else? My wife's mother is also masculine.
Okay.
My wife's masculine. So there's a lot of masculines female in my life. So
Why do you think that's the case? Like, why is it there for you?
yeah, I mean that is my question actually. So does that all of this coincidence actually leads me to being okay by I'm trying to look for a relation in this
Yeah.
because there might be a pattern because there's so much things same things over and over again in my life that must mean something. But well, if I'm to say I want to look for male who are masculine, there's gonna be a lot of them.
Yeah.
But actually, I got this also this saying like people keep saying a few friends of mine keep saying you gotta be more masculine because you gotta how to say, I don't know where they came from, but they just say you gotta be more masculine. You gotta be able to decide without actually having your wife like overdrive the decision, something like that. I'm just saying this out. It's more in a way that can be more understandable. But well, I agree with them in some point where when I actually want my decision and when I think my decision is better, and I don't have to explain myself, something like that. But well, I'm more in a way of a person that is well, I'm open for discussion. I don't mind. I'm open-minded. If you have more feedback, you can add any inputs to this, and we can make it even a better decision. I'm open because one mind. I mean, two mind is better than one. And sometimes my intuition can be wrong. My things and my decision can be wrong, and yours can be also right. And sometimes it's not sometimes. Most of the times, women have like a really sharp intuition. So, yeah, and there's a lot of like from chart readings, from astrology, and all those stuff that sayings, and also like from some people who is reading my past life, that my wife always helps me in when in difficult times fight via her intuitions like that. So yeah, but is there any like I'm just throwing things out. Is there any relations to all of that thing? between the masculine and feminine energy. Like, well, I'm evolving. My wife is evolving. We're trying to fill in the gap, which we have to fill. But yeah, I don't know if there's like a guideline or there's right things or wrong things.
I don't know what it is for you, but for me, it's definitely for me in this lifetime. It's learning how to utilize my female energy and my female creative energy in a way that is in alignment with my life. Because there's a lot of programming that says, oh, female, you're a female, so your creative energy is just used to create children, because that's what women are good for. Just have more kids.
I can't create children.
Exactly. But women can. So there's a lot of programming that says that's all the female creative energy is good for, just create more children. But of course, now in modern society, that's not the only thing that
Yeah.
we can do, that women can do. We can do so much more. We can run businesses, we can create things. There's so much more things that we can do. So it's for me, it's learning how to harness all of that, and relearning how to run my life using my female energy. Because again, from young, I'm used to running it using my male energy. So that's my version. But usually, from what I noticed, not saying that this is your case, but from what I noticed, like I said in the beginning, so women runs their masculine energy because they need to feel safe. So in the case of your mom, because she's a single mom, she needs to protect herself,
Yeah.
and she needs to protect her children. And the only way that she knows how is to be more male, right? To run more masculine energy, to have that protection for herself and also for her children. I think that's not something, it's like, it's a survival thing, right? So that's the automatic default. And usually masculine mothers, they tend to program their children, especially men, to be more feminine.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
And then if they have daughters, they will program their daughters
To be more
to be
masculine.
more masculine. Because they will say to the daughters, if your husband leave you, you have to be very strong. So in order to survive, you have to be masculine, something like that. And then the moms will tell the son, don't be like your dad. So you have to be feminine, so you don't hurt other women. It's actually their own pain that they don't know how to heal yet. So it becomes like it's sort of like passed down to the children, and that usually becomes a pattern, right? From generational wound kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I also think. Somehow my mom, all of the thing that my mom all my mom did is, leading toward that, leading me towards that I have to be more feminine. No, it's not leading me toward that I have to be more feminine. That it's like helping. It's not helping. Like preparing me to be able to fill the feminine gap, that I get used to it. So when, let's say, my wife is more masculine, I can be more feminine because I remember that kind of life where my mom kind of, pushed me toward feminine side.
Or maybe also that you can harness your male energy.
Because wait, I still remember how masculine I am, because I remember I was super masculine before I met Ferron. And I think it's like what you say. My mom is my role model. Whatever my mom did, I copied her, and I was super masculine. I hurt a lot of people with my words. I used to order people around because that's the way my mom ordered people around too, like the maid. But then after I met Ferron, and I had to fill in the gap because I want this marriage is more important than my ego. So I kind of leans toward more feminine energy, and I start to serve, and I start to do like all the feminine stuff, like maybe leans toward more emotions. Yeah, but I think
Okay, I have a question. If the male have the feminine energy, how about the responsibility? Should should a man be a man or
so. Let's say now I have more feminine energy. My wife has more masculine energy, which is actually it's like um, we have to balance it, not like masculine in one place or feminine in one place. But anyway, man has also to provide and all this stuff. But when man is more, leaning toward the feminine side, does that stop him from providing?
I think this one comes down to their arrangements and their agreements
Between the
between
man
the
and
men and the
the
woman, the
marriage.
relationship,
Okay,
exactly,
okay.
between the relationship. I see a lot of relationships where the pattern is actually the woman who became masculine. Again, it was because she needed to survive, she needed to be strong. But deep down, what she really, really, really wants is a man who can take care of her.
Yeah.
And so that she can finally let go and just feel safe and protected. Doesn't mean that she will stop working, but she just wants that. I see a lot of pattern like this. But what if, let's say, she is more successful than the man, and whatever, that happens, right? Again, I don't know in the relationship what the dynamics are and what their soul agreement is, but definitely what happens in a relationship, it comes down to their agreements, both physically and also spiritually. Like why are they together? What are they there to learn? What are they there to grow into? In terms of the male have to provide, the female have to, I don't know, cook, bear children. I think that's just societal and cultural. There are, for example, if you look at his histories where the women are the warriors, for example, and the male actually is taking up the other role, right? I mean, there were historically that kind of historically there are that kind of roles. It's more of a
You mean
society's
like
view.
Cleopatra? The woman king is one of the
Yeah.
example I say. I think because the women king is, um, the general is women.
Women.
The strongest warrior is women, and I think the man just sits as the council, something like that. And the king is a man. The warrior is women.
But
It's
even
the
like,
woman king.
for example, in the animal kingdom, like the lion, yes, the king, the male is the king and he protects,
Yeah,
but the one who hunts is the female,
female. Yeah,
right? The females goes to hunting, even though in terms of body, the male is bigger and stronger, but the female goes to hunt, and then she brings back the food, and the male will eat first, then she will eat later. That's because that's how the dynamics work. But there are also other animal species that is not like that. I think it comes down to there is no wrong, there is no right. It's more of how culturally and societal beliefs that shaped us into what we see on a day-to-day basis. For me, though, personally, it comes down to what you as a personal individual wants to feel, wants to experience, and what you want to grow into. Like for my case, I have been masculine my whole life. So what I want to feel is being feminine. And how I want to create is using my feminine energy. And that's the experience that I want. So of course, for me, I would love to have a husband who can do the male role. And then so I can get to be the female. Because that's what I want. So that's experience. But again, it's a choice. I do see that there are good relationship that works, that the female is more successful, or she provides or whatever, and they're still happily in a relationship. I mean, that works too. It really depends on the agreements.
Yeah, I think in my case right now, well, we are a couple who always goes back on discussing like how far have we gone, and what can we add into our life. Like, just open the panel and then look inside. Is there anything we can do? We can switch. Is there anything we can, add? Is there anything we can, change the spare parts that is no longer working? We can change a new one.
Yeah.
That's why we turn from masculine to masculine feminine, and then now, a little bit of both. But yeah, it's kind of complicated, but I don't know how, and I don't know how to explain it. But I think that's
Yeah.
the dynamics now
Yeah.
I have with my wife.
Yeah.
I don't know if she agrees though.
Well, I have a question. What if there are couples out there where the wife is more feminine and then the wife is more masculine and the husband is very feminine, but then the wife wants that to change because she doesn't feel happy in the relationship. But how can she tell the husband without like offending? Like, I mean, Brilliant and I I told him things and sometimes we argue, but then okay, after that it's fine. But I do realize there are some cases where the wife doesn't want to tell the husband because she doesn't want to hurt the husband's feeling. How can she do that without hurting his feeling and making him even more feminine?
What I see with this is, number one, you never expect people to change. If you come into a relationship thinking that the other side is wrong and they need to change, then it will never work. So you cannot change other people, but what you can do is change yourself. If you want your husband to be more masculine, then you have to be less masculine. Because if not, there will always be conflict. And maybe what the husband is doing is filling in the gap, like you said, so there's no conflict. Because he loves you so much, then rather than we fight, I'll fill in this role so we can avoid conflict, right? So the first thing, of course, is you have to change. I think that's the number one thing. And number two, why are you in the relationship to begin with if you already know from the start that the guy is more feminine? I think there's the deeper reason there. Is it because you're trying to fix something? Usually, it's because they are trying to fix a problem that they have, but it's not their problem to begin with. And what I mean by that, maybe they saw this pattern in their parents, and they actually want to fix the mom's and the dad's marriage. They couldn't. So then they marry their dad so that thinking by changing their relationship, their parents can fix their relationship and whatever, so on and so forth. So I think that's the deeper question. Usually for me, from what I have experienced and noticed in other people, is that once you change, everything around you, they have this ripple effect. And that's when they change. So stop expecting other people to change. But first, you have to start with yourself. Is it possible that after you change, they don't change? Absolutely. Absolutely. Then the question becomes, can you still love them and accept them for who they are without trying to change them? Then that's, I think, the bigger question. Or maybe by then it comes to a point where this is no longer in alignment with your life.
Yeah.
Maybe then that's a different, whole set of questions that you need to relook at your life. And why are you there in the first place? Have you finished that goal? Maybe they realize that, oh, turns out I was trying to fix my parents, so I married my dad. Will never work. Right? So that's that. Or maybe the lesson is I need to learn to be feminine. Okay, mission accomplished. I learned to be feminine. And if the husband doesn't change, then there's always something. And by then they will know what to do. I'm not advocating, for them to get a divorce or something, whatever it may be. But usually when the lessons learned, something will happen. Usually that's the case. And then by then they will know what is the next step. What do they need to do? Or maybe the step is for the guy to evolve. maybe they, after the wife changed, then they realize, oh, turns out I also want this. Turns out I've been wanting to be masculine, but my mom makes me so feminine. But now, because my wife finally gave me a chance to be masculine, it's not easy, because all my life I have learned to be safe being feminine. Now I have to take on this masculine side, and they need time, to process. And everybody grows at different pace. The more you accept people for who they are and where they're at without trying to fix or change them, usually the more growth happens quicker, because it's easier. There's no pressure on trying to be something that they're not usually. But coming back, just a bit of rewind, I just remembered something. When we were talking about how, the role between a man and a wife, and so on and so forth, what I experienced in my relationship is, I because of all the things that I went through with my husband, that we went through, I understand a lot of things, a lot more things about him. And so now we don't play that role so much, like, the stereotype where the men have to do this and the women have to do this, and da 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 da. We don't play that role anymore, because that's society's role. But we have our own dynamics and what
I love
makes
that.
us happy. For example, I do not like providing food, because I just don't like it. And my husband is always hungry. And so in the past, I was taught by my mom, as the wife, you need to provide food. You have to cook. You have to, whatever. You have to wake up 1 hour, 2 hours earlier than your husband and cook for him, so that when he wakes up, there's food on the table. Because that's how the men will stay with you, because you have put food in the table. I mean, I'm not saying that that's wrong, because I think that's what people do in those days. But it has never happened to me with my husband. I think he has accepted that. So when I wake up, there's always food, because number one, he always wake up before me. So if he wants to wait for me to provide food, he'll be hungry for a while. But we have come to learn to accept that about each other. Okay, I wake up earlier than my wife because she needs more sleep for whatever reason. He doesn't need as much sleep. So, okay, I will take up this role of making sure there's breakfast, something like that. That's him. And vice versa. There's no, like, a lot of pressure on, okay, you're the guy. You have to always provide. You have to do this. There's no pressure in that, because life is life. There's ups and there's downs. And when let's say the business is not doing well, and he cannot provide as much, it doesn't make him less than a man, because 1 month his business is not doing as well as before. Then if I can step in and fill up that role, why not? I don't see that there's a problem in that. Why not? And it doesn't mean that he has to beg me, can you please do that? And then I have to feel like, oh, why you cannot provide? I don't think we need to play that game, But after understanding him more, and then I realized that, oh, okay, so of course he will not say this out loud, because a man has his own pride. But I, as the wife, understand that, okay, this is where I step in, and I'll take up, maybe some of the roles and the responsibilities financially when he's struggling. And vice versa, right? When I'm struggling, I can be there to lean on him, and he can take up that role to help me, whatever it may be. I think with this dynamics, it makes, I don't know about him, but I think he's also happier, but definitely it makes me happier, because I feel protected, I feel loved. At the same time, we have a lot of understanding, we have a lot of mutual respect for one another, without trying to box people, you have to be like this, you have to be like this. But it's what works between us. It might not work for everyone, but it works for us.
I really love that, and it's so relatable, because that's what we do. Like, for example, I I clean. I think when it comes to washing dishes, I clean it better than my wife, but I don't like it. She also don't like it. That's why she's bad at it. That's why we have dishwasher.
Exactly.
And then we don't like to wash our own clothes, and we're bad at folding it. so we send it to laundry.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then what else? I don't mind like well, I don't like prepping the food and all those stuff. She likes it. She likes to order food. She likes to eat. She's a foodie, so she's doing it. But in another part, like maybe changing the bulb, fixing some stuff in home,
Yeah.
washing the filter, the water filter, ordering, like managing people to clean off the garden and all those stuff. She don't like that, and because she kind of hates lizards and all those the cousins of the animals.
Cousins of them.
Yeah. I don't mind doing that. And then like, it's just the dynamics that we have to fill in. Like I like this, then I do this.
Yeah.
You don't like this, then I do it for you.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Also, when I kind of the thing you say before the dynamic things, I that reminds me of I think it's not I think when things happen to us, I think we have to just being aware of this thing is happening to us, and then ask the big question: what is this thing trying to teach us? And then when we know the answers, we graduate from them,
Yeah.
from that, and then we can level up and then face kind of the next challenge. Yeah, that reminds me of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just now, I think he had a question like how to differentiate hurting the feelings and
The ego.
Oh yeah, the ego.
Yes,
Yeah, the
okay.
ego one.
Yes. Okay. I think when you say, how do you say something?
I want to add something more because you mentioned pride.
Yeah.
And I think I had these conversations with my male friends that sometimes they don't mind doing things that being requested by their wives or spouse or partners. I mean, in romantic, but sometimes the way they say it hurt their pride. That's why something comes out, the defense mechanism, like, no, I don't want to do this. Like it's not that they don't want to do it, but it's because it hurt their pride.
Yeah.
So does that have to do with ego and feelings?
Yeah.
The pride in a man too.
I think so. So this is what I learned. Again, I don't know if this is the right thing, but so far this is my observation.
Yeah.
In the past, I used to have a lot of difficulty in communicating with my husband because one, I feel like if I say this, is it going to hurt his pride, his ego, so then I hold things back, and then I realized by holding things back, actually it becomes an issue in our relationship because there's this unspoken things that I want to communicate, but I don't feel feel good, to say it out loud, and so on and so forth. But it becomes it becomes a huge issue. So what I learned from that is, number one, speaking with a lot of meaning and connotations is the problem, not speaking it out loud itself. So you can say something, but when there's neutral energy, then it people receive it neutrally. You can say the right words, but when there's a hidden connotation and hidden energy, people can feel that as well. So usually what I see is in people, not just men, men, women, both sides. If you communicate things, but there's this hidden emotion, hidden meaning in what you're trying to say, especially judgment, that's usually when people shields up, defensive, that's usually that's what happens. That's number one. But number two, it could also be that it triggers some stuff in them. Maybe they have these insecurities. Maybe there's a wound that you touched on that it triggers that. So they are reacting to that so much, not so much what you're saying. It's their own thing, right? So it could be one or the other. In which case, though, number one, of course, you cannot be responsible for everybody's feelings and emotions and whatever. But that doesn't mean that you can be mean to everyone and say nasty things to people. I'm not saying that. But if you hurt someone during that process, and if you realize that, oh, by saying this, I'm hurting, let's say his feelings, then it's also okay to say it out loud. When I say this is not what I mean. But I'm sorry if it triggers, whatever. But that's not what I meant to say. And vice versa for him and to me as well. Because sometimes he will say things, and then some of my things get triggered, and then I react in a way that, why are you reacting this way, And then I have to say, why are you saying this? When you say this, it makes me feel like this. And he's like, but that's not what I meant. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
me, right? I mean, I think it works both ways. Having the maturity to communicate, I think having that open communication is what makes the relationship work.
Does that mean women also has their own pride?
Of course.
I see.
Of
Because
course.
what happens to you also happens to me when I say things that I actually don't feel, I don't mean it that way, but when it translated through her ear and then the brain, and then she
Is
hears
this
it
what you
differently.
tried to tell me?
Yeah, yeah.
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 And then he'll go like, that's not what I said. Yes, you said this, but that's not what I said.
Yeah, like it translated differently, and
Yeah.
then he just hears it. No, that's not what I say. Something like that. Yeah.
This reminds me of a story. So there was something that I could never understand about my husband for a long, long time. For example, like I can do something and I don't know, I cannot remember specific things, but I will do something. For me, it's like, it's not, um, it's not a big deal. But for him, it's a huge deal. And then he will react like, "Ooh," like he will have this, like he gets so angry. And I'm like,
I think I relate to that.
what happened? Like just this little thing, like why are you so angry? And I could never understand until I had this astrology reading, and the astrologer said that my husband carried this past wound from his previous lifetime. In that lifetime, the pattern in his life was injustice always falls upon him, and then he always get bullied or suppressed for things that he didn't do, or he didn't deserve it. So it leaves a wound. So that's why when something happens, even though it's very small, he will react in a way that you cannot understand because you don't have that wound. But after understanding that, oh, he's not reacting to me, he's reacting to the wound, and I sort of triggered that thing, or maybe somebody else's did, not me, but I have more understanding and empathy now because I understand what's going through in him.
Yeah, I ever explode like that, and then I don't know why. I don't know why, but it just feel like it's kind of hurtful. Something triggers inside of me, but I don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe might be from the past too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Something that is unfinished.
Yeah. For my husband, I think his thing is like, if there's an injustice, even though it's so small, he's like, no, we need to fix this. And he will react in a way that's like, why are you like this? No, we have to, like he will just react so much. And in the past, I didn't understand. For me, it's like, it's okay, just let it go. It's okay, it's no big deal. We can forgive them. No, if you forgive people, you're too soft, and then they will step all over you. What are you talking about? In the past, I didn't understand, but of course now I can relate more.
But my mom also says that.
Yeah.
But I think I grows differently.
Okay, I have a question. How about when in relationship and the husband say, "Oh, okay, I will provide," and then like before there is like one sentence you say, "The business is not always going smooth. Maybe sometimes there's a part husband the business not good, and maybe the wife will be provide." And then I want to ask, like, how about in the relationship? Usually people do like 50-50, maybe 100% he provide, and then the wife do something else 100%. But in this case it's like switch up. Then how about and then how to deal with the wife do the 100% about the providing things, and then what should the others do, and then not hurting his ego to telling he should do that. So
Yeah. That usually comes down to having a very deep, raw, and honest conversation with the husband. And it's not going to be an easy communication. It's
100%.
going to be a very tough communication. Um, Again, it's case by case. I don't know how and what problems or the dynamics, because I cannot say. But for my case, for example, like in the past I used to fall into this thinking process that if my husband cannot provide, then it's not good, or something like that. And I see how that is wrong. Actually, I don't mind to help, sometimes, but it's more of the programming, right? So I fall into that pain. But then now, because we understand each other more, and we talked a lot about, we share our pain, our difficulties, and then I'm also went through several stuff that maybe makes me more humble. So from there, from that perspective, I can understand him more. And ever since I started creating this reality where how do I want in a relationship? For example, I want in the relationship to be this kind of dynamics, and this is how I feel. I feel safe. I feel protected. I feel supported. And when I created that in my head, and we worked through our issues, now I have that. Let's call it the fairy tale relationship that I've always wanted. And when things doesn't happen quite the way how you want it, I'm not saying this right. What I'm trying to say is when, for example, I see that my husband is struggling. For example, something happened, and he's doing his best, and he's really struggling, and you can really see that he's in pain. So I will talk to him. I will tell him that I know that you're doing your best, and just because, let's say, this, like whatever issue that's coming up, maybe it's financial or whatever, in my eyes, it doesn't make you less than a man. Like it doesn't make you less uh, than a husband or a father. No matter what happens, we still love you. We're still here for you, because I don't marry you for your money. Well, unless in that relationship the girl is married for the money, then that's a whole different case. But in this relationship, I don't marry you for the money. And no matter whatever happens, we will figure this out together, because it's a partnership. We'll figure it out together. So you don't have to fear, being like a failure, or being ashamed, because we're all here for you. The children are all here for you. They're not going to love their father less because you didn't buy them a toy, maybe something like that, because we all know that you have always done your best and provide for us. So I think it's having that kind of relationships, and it's getting him also to open up that it's never easy, and he doesn't. But I think by me giving that space with no judgment and acceptance and love, he gets to relax, and he gets to think through things better. And from that perspective, he actually can do more, because he's not living in fear. What if I cannot do this? And what if they don't accept me? What if they don't love me? What if I lose my family? I think that stresses him up more. And when he's stressed up, and then of course his energy shrinks, then he cannot, have the creativity to create more. And I think it's vice versa. It's the same for women as well. It's having it's that ability to be in the relationship where you can have that difficult conversation, and it's not easy. I mean, it took us years to get here, but coming from a place of non-judgment and acceptance and love, I think that's what makes both of us grow.
I think for couples, they have to be able to reach in a part where the mindset is they are here to co-create together.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not simply about you, me,
Me, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
was where we were in
Yeah.
the past, me and my husband. And I was so unhappy in that relationship. But now that we are in the co-creation space, Your problem is my problem. My problem is your
Yeah.
problem. Let's be here with, for each other. Let's support each other. We all have our own stuff that we're dealing with, but at least we're here for each other. And know that the love is unconditional.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
on
yeah.
based on how much bank account you have, how much money. It's unconditional. I think when you take that, you know that the love is there and the love is strong, and you don't use that, because a lot of people use love as a power play. Like, if you don't do this, I don't love you. If you don't do, and you, even with parents and children,
Isn't that gaslighting?
even with parents and children,
Yeah,
right?
true. Yeah.
They use love as a currency to get the kids to do what they want for control.
It's like giving snacks to pets.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And a lot of people do this unconsciously, of course.
Yeah.
It's like a barter, it's like a control thing. But that's the ego, right? When you bypass all that and you really just be able to love and accept the person and unconditionally, and let them be where they're at, and you can be where you're at, and have total acceptance. I think that's when truth, communication, can really, and healing also begins, right? When you can have that moment of truth.
Yeah, but I have another tips for that too. I ever learned from Lisa Nichols about the care frontation. Have you heard about it? So it's the opposite of confrontation. It's care frontation. So you approach the other parties by asking them that you need support from them, so they lower their ego and their defense mechanism. So you speak like from the place that you need help and support, so they will listen, and then you tell them what help you need, so you can both work on the solution together. Like there's no fight between them and war.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think could search up for care frontation. It's
yeah.
really good.
One more thing that I just remembered about the whole, telling them, and then if there's ego or whatever thing, that question. Usually, what happens is when you say something to the person, and there's a hidden like judgment, or your own emotions in there, that's usually what makes the people have the shields and defense mechanism up. And usually it's unconscious. So you're saying that not because, I mean, you do want the people to change, but you want the people to change for your own selfish benefit. And there's your hidden judgment and agenda in that. And that's usually when then, the shields are up, because then they're like, like that. But if you really approach it in a way of like a neutral, I notice this, I see this, there's no judgment, there's no hidden agenda from your side, and it has to be real, of course, it has to be authentic, usually they can hear it better. But of course, usually people have their own thing, right? Oh, they want the husband to be more like this. So then they will tell the husband, hey, why are you like this? You should be like this. But that's their hidden agenda. And that's for their own selfish reason. So thank you so much, Brill. Great conversations today about the male and the female, masculine and feminine energy dynamics. Thank you so much for being here.
I want to say my pleasure. So it matched when we started this session episode. But thank you. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, really. I'm really happy. And I think the conversation is really enjoyable, that it flows deeper and deeper. Yeah, it's really good.
Thank you for sharing this sacred pause with me today. If something in this episode stirred your heart or softened your edges, I'd love for you to subscribe, like, and share with someone you love, and leave a kind review. It helps the soul space reach those who need it most. Until next time, may you trust your inner voice, nourish your spirit, and treat yourself to something sweet.